Good morning, and a very warm welcome once again to this fabulous event organized by IDG. And congratulations to all of you who are there in the room, who has done a fantastic job in leading India's digital transformation journey and has been able to put India very, very significantly in the global's digital transformation framework. We have got a lot to do together, but these are the events where we get opportunity to interact with each other, and every time we come and join this event, and this is the third year we are participating in this event, we get a lot of energy, a lot of lessons, a lot of things to learn and to go back to our day-to-day business life and construct new digital models, new ideas to partner with all of you. So I've been given 18 minutes precisely to cover a very difficult subject, which is reimagining India Vision 2020. Officially, I didn't get even 20 minutes while to define the vision for India 2020. I'll do a very sincere, I hope I'll do a very sincere job in terms of, capturing the thoughts which we had and try to connect with you around the theme. Now, when I was trying to deconstruct the theme, that what is reimagining, first of all, I kind of faltered once or twice to pronounce the word itself. And by the time I could start deconstructing, and to really find out what is the real meaning of that, because there are various ways it can be interpreted. On 1st of September this month, I got an invitation from Department of Post to participate in their formal launch of the India Post Payment Bank. And after the event was over, I really realized that probably, when I was looking for a definition for reimagining, I got the example itself. So the example itself helped me to understand what this terminology reimagining may actually mean. So all of us, particularly who hail from small towns or villages, may not be that much with the people who have been, or individuals who have been born in metro. All of us are pretty familiar with this khaki-clad dakia, who used to deliver letters, deliver money orders, in small towns and villages, and of course in metros those days. Now, there is such an emotional connect. The reason I am narrating this, I'm starting my presentation with this, is because if we understand this particular case study, then it will really, open up our minds, open up our brains rather, to something what is really called reimagining, and complete transformation for an organization which was there in a certain state, almost getting lost in the modern age, how it has, come across as a, completely revitalized organization. So the Dakia's role in our life, particularly to that, poor Indian rural village woman, right? And there are so many folklores, so many songs, so many stories around the role of a postman in the lives of a villager. But that Dakia today is the new banker of the country. So through this entire program of this modernization, the Department of Post started with a modernization program where they thought they have to completely revamp themselves. And the end point now, as we speak, is the launch of their payment bank. So currently, the new banker is a postman or the dakia who used to deliver letters, deliver money orders to the rural nook and corner of the country. He is the new banker today, because he will be taking the bank to the footsteps of every villagers who are in the remotest part of the country. So they are starting with 650 branches, 325 access points, but you can see the statistics over there. Their vision to go to every, almost, 1.7 lakhs DOP access points where banking facilities will be available. So in a way, they are solving one of the most critical, problems of the country, which was the problem of financial inclusion. So who are the beneficiaries over there? So if I look at the beneficiaries, they are the senior citizens of the country, of the villages who has got easy access to pension, postman assisted doorstep banking. They need not go to the bank. The farmers and DBT beneficiaries, they can get access, instant access to loans and other financial facilities. The rural influencers, as you know, in a rural setup, the influencers in the form of the panchayat heads and all, they influence the community a lot. So even for a financial or a digital literacy for them, which will be accomplished by the so-called, dakia, who used to only deliver letters earlier. And of course, the homemakers, the mobile app utility bills, anytime, anywhere banking services, and of course, the kirana stores, who does all these, commercial transactions from whom the villagers buy their day-to-day goods, to meet their requirements. So if I have to really sum it up, that whatever facilities are available in metros or whatever facilities are available in the towns today, the same facilities will be available to every villager in the country. So what it means, so if I really, sum it up and map it against our scheme of things, and we all mostly work in corporates here. So we look at business, in 5 facets today in a modern age. So what it meant for DOP is a huge organization transformation. The postal department becoming a digital technology-driven payment bank. The employee transformation, the trusted postman to become a digital coach and promote digital literacy to the remotest parts. Now just imagine today, when all of us are striving hard to make our individual own organizations digitally aware, when we are trying to make our customers digitally aware, what about the village? I don't think the digital literacy drive, anyway we are struggling with our, the basic literacy drive in the villages. The digital literacy drive probably will lead the basic literacy drive. So the postman who is carrying his mobile and the handheld devices to the remote villages in the country, so they are the people who will be teaching how to do a transaction on a mobile phone, how to do a digital banking on a mobile phone, how to transfer money on a mobile phone, how to receive money, how to know that when he or she has received money in the mobile phone. So in a way, the so-called dakiyas are digital, they are the agents of digital literacy today in nook and corner of the country. And if you look at the customer base, expansion, today, the huge basis which is available for Department of Post, they are utilizing to deliver new services. And there is a learning for all of us, here in the room who belong to the business houses, that how to increase the number of services, which we can sell to our existing customer base. And of course, a new customer base, which is doorstep banking for greater financial inclusion. And of course, the customer experience, which is the primary objective of a digital model. So to me, this was a great example of reimagining of an organization, which is India Post, whom we all thought at some point of time will probably get lost out because there are emails, nobody sends letters. There are so many private logistics companies who are appearing far more efficient than the India Post, and so on and so forth. And now these are familiar faces today. So what I'm trying to communicate here is that the growth market for us actually lies beyond our traditional market, beyond the metros today. Even our champions, who are making India very, very proud today, are coming from very small towns or villages. And these are faces I don't know how many of us knew about them till the time they made headlines in the recent past. So new champions of India are absolutely from rural background. So if we are really talking about reimagining India Vision 2020, it is extremely important that we get the villages and the small towns into the mainstream. All these days, the politicians, the bureaucrats, and even we are there in the industry, we used to talk about that. Maybe all these things were sounding little theoretical at those point of time, but all of us understand today that it is an absolute must, because even if I look from a business angle, that is the incremental market which we to tap, and today we have digital technology as a strong weapon to achieve that. So India today is a powerhouse. I need not a kind of deep dive on this. These are statistics which are known, and these are all in the public domain. I'm trying to re-emphasize the point that today India is such an economic powerhouse. All the 4 important pillars. The demographic, look at the demographic data. Our population, our 65% population of employable age that can be upskilled, the huge headroom for us to grow. The economy itself, we come across, there are a lot of, positive news about GDP growth and all, and it was the fifth most attractive investment destination in the world. See, one simple data, the number of data centers, we belong to the industry where data center is a very important element. The number of data centers which are coming in India only shows that the huge interest which India is gaining today from the global software giants, from the global service provider, as well as from the global IT services provider. So the infrastructure, we have seen a significant development in the road infrastructure, and India is the world's third largest producer and largest consumer of electricity in the world. This government is stressing a lot of importance on electrifying the Indian villages, and of course ranked first in the Global Retail Development Index. So these are all, these are all factors which makes India a great destination. And of course the technology, all of you know about it. We belong to this specific world, and hence we have all a strong belief that India can do much better than what you did in the past. And according to me, when I talk to our global partners, the kind of investment they are doing in India is really amazing. And I think at times I feel I made a conscious choice of not going outside India and working, and now I find that India is one of the best destinations where people are coming and working. So to me, these are the four parameters which are very, very important if I look from a macro level: the health, wealth, education, food and nutrition. Now the reason I'll be connecting these four aspects to a business point of view with respect to India Vision 2020 is simply to share with you. I'm sure a lot of you know this data. It's simply to just recollect this data once more. The kind of headroom we have there to grow, right? For example, healthcare. I had a family unfortunate incident. I lost my mom 1.5 months back. I just realized, I belong to Northeast. Even at a state capital, how much constrained we are in Northeast, in terms of good medical and healthcare facilities, the want of good doctors. So we have spoken about on the wealth part of it, on the financial inclusion, but even on basic health premise, the kind of headroom which is there, for the healthcare providers to grow in that market is amazing. And not only today, India is, it is a domestic, it is not only the domestic customers or the domestic, population who will be coming for healthcare services. When I go to the hospitals, I see so many, India is attracting so many patients from outside the country, right? So the headroom to grow for health, wealth, education, and food and nutrition is very, very high. These are some statistics, which are very, kind of self-explanatory, but these are important for us to, when we, represent our, respective companies, maybe in these sectors where we are directly working in these sectors, or probably, indirectly, serving these sectors. It is very important to understand the headroom for growth. And I will let you know during the next course of, of the presentation, or during the course of the presentation, why today you are the CIO community, why I am talking all these things to you. Because I strongly feel today your role from the traditional CIO role has actually gone far beyond, and you are the business leaders today. And I am being a part of the industry for a long time and interacting with many customers. I have seen huge transformation which is happening in the CIO community, in the CIOs themselves, who are leading the business objectives of their respective organizations. The banking one, of course, is the Department of Post, and almost all the other banks, including State Bank of India and the other public sector banks, are taking huge initiatives in the areas of financial inclusion. Education. For example, of course, I was actually surprised to see this data that we are 75% literate. But the big question is, to what extent is this literacy, to what extent is this literacy good enough for employment, for the actual reason of, earning the livelihood. So these are some of the things we can, ponder upon. But the dichotomy is actually very funny. Today, in a remote corner of the village, you have got access to YouTube. Okay, there is, social media and entertainment, there's ubiquitous access everywhere because of the fabulous job which the mobile telephone companies have done. But the basic access for education, basic access to healthcare, there's a huge, huge gap. So this is the dichotomy of the country we live in, right? Where mobile phone has penetrated everywhere almost in the country. The telecom operator has done a fantastic job. Thanks to the content providers, thanks to the, the CDN providers, we are getting a great speed as well as good experience for mobile telephony and content. But we lack at the same time the basic aspects of education and healthcare. So just to summarize, I think for all of us, it is very important to understand that we need to take advantage of India's scale. The market is beyond the traditional market. The actual growth market is beyond the traditional market. The affordable services, unless we deliver services at an affordable rate or affordable price, we have a great example in the form of mobile telephone it is today. So 199, 299, 399, unlimited data, unlimited voice, almost unlimited data, and of course unlimited voice. So these are the kind of services which probably India needs, and complete commoditization of healthcare, education and banking facilities. I think according to me, these are three basic parameters in which we the business houses, or we who are there, who are leading the industry, who are driving the growth of the industry, we need to look at these three parameters and work on our business models accordingly. I mentioned about this, the good job what the telecom sector is showing. The reason I have kept this as a dedicated slide is that today there are the telecom operators who has created such a huge, great framework for us today. The reach is not a problem today. A reach, and of course at an kind of affordable costs, both for us as well as for our consumers. Now we'll kind of focus these to a subject which we discuss daily, the digital ICT. If you really look back, there was never a time when the IT or ICT was so much embedded in the core industry, right? The connected vehicles, the connected hospitals, connected factories, connected devices, connected campuses, connected everything. What does it mean? It has got a deeper meaning. The deeper meaning is that IT and communication has got inside the core industry. All these days, the CIO community or people who are associated with the IT industry were actually serving the industry or supporting their business. But today they have gone inside the business. So I think it's a great, great opportunity for everyone who was there in the room, who are there in the room now, and of course to the entire fraternity of the IT leaders. Today, earlier the domain was driving IT, or IT was supporting the domain, but IT has become the domain itself. If you look at all the great digital examples, everywhere you will see the same story, or everywhere you will feel the same aspect of it, that you are inside the industry today. So if you are inside the industry, then you are in the best position to lead. So whatever we discussed in the last 10-15 minutes, if we have to really crystallize the vision 2020 for India, I expect the IT leaders or the ICT leaders to lead that change. So your role is no longer just to support the business changes or support the business growth, but to lead it yourself. But of course, for that, there are certain, so there are two things. First of all, the good news is that almost all the tools, so there are companies like us who are the service providers, and there are technology companies like Intel and many other, partners. There are many of them. The cloud providers, the artificial intelligence, product companies, the IoT provider, the sensor providers, everybody is there, to support you in this cause. And I don't think today, to really, look forward, really need to build something afresh. Almost everything is available, the cloud being the center point of those models. And all these various services which you see in the screen, and there will be many more in the coming days, which you can see in the screen, are all available to you today. So your job, as you have to refocus, or as you have to focus more on leading the business and creating new business models, making a huge amount of digital change within your organization, the good news is that the tools are available today. So you need not build anything. Almost everything here are available on a subscription model, on a consumption model. But however, to achieve this, to make the best use of that, you have got the great tools. But I strongly believe that, there are certain changes which need to happen within your own persona. So while I'm showing you this, the reason I'm showing you this, and I'm very tempted to show you this, is because when I meet, I meet a lot of customers every month, right? The key decision makers. So I'll tell you some interesting examples. There are two insurance companies of the same group, okay? Both are our customers. So one group company, they have decided they will build everything afresh. The other insurance company decided that they will go on cloud. And that really confuses me. How under the same group company, two insurance companies, one a general insurance company, the other one, a health insurance company, how the objectives of both the companies can be so different in adoption of the model for leading their growth. And that's what, I thought that probably, we in the industry don't go and, really share with our customers that what are the options and choices available to them today when they can spend more time on developing business and less time on building infrastructures for themselves. So if I have to summarize that, so your role from a point in time problem solver, you have been a great problem solver all these years to a champion of disruption. So this transition has to happen, and I have captured 4 elements which will constitute this whole transition. From a cost cutter, you are, at some point of time, all of us had a mandate from our management how to reduce cost. From reducing cost to becoming an integrator, while making the plug and play a reality. The reason it is plug and play, because in a digital model, everything, all these different components what you have seen are available in a plug and play model. The integration between two technologies has never been so easier. The sensors working with the platform, the sensors working with the communication device. Everything is pretty much standardized and integrated today. So how you can change your role, or you can convince your respective organizations that yes, cost cutting there are various ways of cutting costs, not the traditional way in which we have been trying to do all these years. So cost cutter to an integrator, from keeping the lights on to an agile leader. I don't think today organizations in the era of cloud, when providers like us and so many other global providers like AWS, Azure, or Google, and there are many more cloud providers who are investing huge amount of money to make sure that your applications run safely on the cloud and without any disruption. So keeping the lights on, I don't think that should take a lot of time for you. Rather, the current technologies available and the service providers available, they should give you a lot of time in driving the culture of agility across enterprise. The reason I am mentioning about driving the culture of agility is because there are a lot of organizations. If your goal is agility, then a lot of things, you will do it in the right way, instead of trying to build everything yourself. From a change agent to a frugal modernizer. So all of us has gone through these phases where we are implementing a large-scale technology platform upgradation. It is no longer about upgradation. It is about modernization, using the various digital technologies to modernize. And most of the time when you deploy digital technologies, you are not actually increasing the IT cost. Most of the time you will see you actually reducing over a period of time the IT cost. So the savings, what you are making with respect to the earlier model, can actually fund your digital investment today. So this is very, very key. So I like this terminology, frugal modernizer. You will not probably need more fund to modernize, but the savings what you gain out of using digital technologies can actually fund your modernization program. From builder to utility enabler, and this is my most favorite slide. And during my course of conversations or presentation, I keep on harping on this. So if I really look at, all of us, and I've been mentioning many times that don't build, please. Please consume. Okay, and next stage of consumption is the utility enabler. Like, there are organizations who I met, and I was talking to a CIO of a company, of a global, retail chain company. I was talking to CIO of Walmart, and he's an ex-colleague of mine, and I could resonate with him what he was telling me, that they allow a lot of startup companies to come and invest in their technology and try their technology within their organization. It will be a great idea if you have that, few percentage of your budget left for those new age companies, which I call a utility enabler, who will come and co-create along with you, co-create business models with you. I think this might be a relatively new thought, but there are organizations who have created it. And trust me, when we often talk about business outcome-based models, because today, in a digital model, you are charging the customer on the basis of part transaction. That part transaction can be anything. It can be per patient, it can be per electricity bill, it can be per trip for a cab company. But the way you buy it from your vendors are not exactly on per transactions. The business outcome-based model, when you talk about, it can only be achieved if there is a collaboration between the client and the vendor or the partner. And you should demand an utility model for them by saying that, look, I am providing utility model to my customer. I need an utility model for my own consumption. So it is not only buying in component aligned or usage aligned. The next step is basically buying on a utility mode. It is extremely important. It may sound little theoretical as of now, but we have ourselves signed at least 6 to 7 contracts like that, very, very significant contract with our client. Why it is completely on a utility model. Now, while you do all these things, all these ideas look great, but when you really implement, there is something which becomes very crucial. What is your model of procurement? So I've touched upon the fact that you need to buy on a utility model. According to me, this is the highest point. Let me give you an example, a great example of a procurement model. So I don't know how many of you have heard about the project called GEM. GEM is a platform like Amazon or Flipkart, like any other e-commerce platform, implemented by Government of India for enabling B2B buying in the government sector. It precisely looks like an Amazon website or maybe Flipkart website, I mean, in terms of the structure of that. So there are a lot of products which were otherwise, used to be tendered and, a very long, negotiation procedure, selection procedure. That has got replaced by this platform, by the GEM platform. The reason I am citing this example is because not only because it's a great platform being used by today by the government and public sector organizations in the country, but the entire structure of the program. So the company who got that contract from Government of India, they have not got paid a single penny upfront. So what they have done is they are being paid on a certain percentage of every transaction which is happening on the GEM portal. So according to me, this is the highest level of customer and partner engagement in terms of the procurement model. Because the customer is completely focusing on how they can enable the usage of this entire platform, not bothered about what is my input cost and whether I will be able to recover my input cost from the portal sales. So this is a great example, and this is the third one as a digital innovator CIO, how you can incubate innovation through collaboration with service provider and adopt utility-based outcome models. So I think buying in a digital world is not very easy because the various providers or the various product companies will offer you products and services in different kind of models. But unless the utility model emerges, by and large, which will only emerge if you demand it from the provider. So everybody would like to sell you and realize the money and go out. But unless you demand the utility model, you will not be able to achieve within that stipulated time. You will not be able to really see, because in a digital world, the funny part is you don't know how many customers you have, and hence how much of investment you need to make. What is your budget? IT budget is very, very difficult because now all these $1 billion day and all for all these e-commerce companies are coming up. They are all on cloud because they don't know what is the traffic which will hit them. It is very, very difficult for them to really size their IT infrastructure. So these are, just to summarize, maintain IT systems to meet business requirements. Earlier used to buy in this model, procure and build infrastructure and services through multi-year contracts. All of us have seen this kind of models. CIO collaborates with business and technology adoption, moves to cloud-based models, which we are doing now, focused on platform rather than infrastructure, compute, and procurement through pay-per-use subscription model. But the next one, which is coming when you have to be really a business leader, but you will still hold that responsibility of procurement of digital IT. And I strongly feel that this is the model which we need to follow. So if I have to summarize it, I think we have been all great executors. Even in the past as well as today. But your role will actually now little get backtracked from the ideas to execution. And this is about reimagining, imagination and engineering it, which in a simpler way we can say the ideas to execution. And of course in a digital world, it is about not only about technology, but about the digital customer experience. The simplest definition of digital is when the service gets directly connected to the consumer with no intermediate layer. So in no way you will be able to figure out, because there is no human intervention, that how your customer's experience is getting impacted. So the technology need to be built and executed in such a way that it delivers superior customer experience. So the last but not the least, I'm sure I have taken much more time than what I was allotted for the simple reason that in 18 minutes you cannot touch upon such a subject. Who is your reimagining partner? I think your choice of partners are going to be very, very crucial over here. Will that partner really help you to, transform yourself into a true business leader? So there are a lot of designations which I see: Chief Digital Officer, Chief Innovation Officer, right? I think each one of you who have been CIOs can be the Chief Innovation Officer as well as the Chief Digital Officer. And if your partner is not right, is your partner the same guy who has been selling you hardware and software, implementing it, going away, not taking the full ownership, whether you are able to take the full benefit out of that? That's the question you need to ask yourselves. So we at Sify, I will just cover few points on that. We at Sify are completely geared up, being a service provider, being from day one used to providing everything as a service, and now completely focusing on business outcome and the business outcome on utility model. How to partner with our clients. We'll be happy to partner with you. And just by the way, we are the network transformation partner for Department of Post. So the example which I cited in the beginning, they are network transformation partners. So we have deployed 28,000, we have connected 28,000 post offices across the country in 18 months' time. And we completely manage the network from our network operations center. So that was only the first step. I'm sure we have got a long way to go along with DOP. At DOP, reaches nook and corner of the country, takes the banking facility, really performs the financial inclusion objective of the Government of India, and to its utmost limit. It was a very proud moment for all of us when the Prime Minister Modi inaugurated that on 1st of September. And we are there for all of you to partner in the new way, in the digital way, in the most modern way. Thank you.